Good morning, Professor Smith. This is Phil Persing checking in, doing a video for our 7th assignment on theories of motivation. I wanted to talk today, I wanted to make a video today discussing different things that motivate firefighters beyond the job itself. Is it only money? Is it benefits? What are some of the motivating factors for firefighters, specifically when we're talking about retention? Not just recruiting, but actually retention. So the first question that we were posed was, what are content theories of motivation? Well, content theories will generally focus on figuring out what the internal factors are that motivate people's behavior. And so there's a couple of theories. There's actually a lot of theories, but I chose a couple that I thought that would really apply here. The first one is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This is a popular one. Any fire officer class you've ever taken or leadership class kind of talks about this a little bit. And he basically, Maslow proposed that people have 5 levels of needs and that they must be met in a specific order. So to start with, we have physiological needs. And this could be pay, proper fitting gear, nice trucks, even comfortable living areas within the stations, nice bedding and recliners and you name it. The next would be safety needs. So this would include things like working and reliable equipment, yearly physicals, health screenings, even like peer support for mental health. The next would be social needs. Social needs would include working and reliable equipment as well. Excuse me. Social needs are for strong personal relationships within crews. And strong leadership that fosters a positive workplace. Anybody who's been in this job can tell you that, we all remember the crew that was like the crew. We've all been lucky to work with people that you're like, you loved working with them. They were like you. They were positive. They wanted to work hard, and it was just an absolute pleasure to go to work with. So that is important to people. The next would be esteem needs. This talks more about like career pathing. Think of like a promotional opportunity, or even like a recognition program, whether that would be, recognizing people for life-saving efforts. Like I know here for our department, we do life-saving awards. And we make kind of a big deal out of it. We go to the station, we all get dressed up, we present them with an award. A lot of times their family will come, and then we typically make like a social media post out of it. And as much as firefighters like to say they don't care about that stuff, it matters. It does. And then finally, self-actualization. This is really going to be opportunities for personal growth, like through training programs, and the ability to serve in leadership positions. And this doesn't necessarily mean getting promoted. There's plenty of just senior firefighters that are leaders within the department. So the next theory would be Herzberg's 2-factor theory, and he really talks about this to include hygiene factors and motivators. Well, hygiene factors essentially prevent dissatisfaction, and motivators are things that can get people involved. So for hygiene factors, we're talking about like fair and competitive pay, departmental policies that make sense and instill an appropriate level of discipline, and then overall good working conditions. And then our motivators are opportunities for career pathing, recognition through the awards programs, and just giving people responsibilities and meaningful work, challenging them. We're not talking about busy work, we're talking about meaningful work. The next theory I wanted to mention was McClelland's theory of needs, and this is outlined by 3 primary needs. The first would be a need for achievement. People, especially in this profession, generally have a desire to excel and to challenge themselves. They want to be the best that they can be. There's a need for affiliation, and this means that people do have a need for the social connections and teamwork. Again, going back to working with a good crew it's very important. And then the need for power. And this isn't to say that people need to lord over others and have power, although admittedly there are some people that the more of these you get, the worse that they can be when it comes to that. But it really has to do more with giving people an opportunity to be leaders and to be able to influence change within a department. Kind of like basically being able to put your stamp on something. I think for myself, that's a big thing. So what are some of the what are the process theories of motivation? Well, process theories generally focus on the psychological processes behind what motivates people and how people will actually act. So there's a couple theories that we talk about with that. One is the expectancy theory. So people are motivated and encouraged to do a good job when they think that their work will lead to a reward of some kind. Um, we're not talking about just handing out trophies. This can just simply mean just the performance itself, having a good performance and being like, yeah, we showed up and we killed it. That in itself is reward enough a lot of times, or it could actually be an award. It could be a life-saving award, or maybe a Lieutenant of the Year award, a Firefighter of the Year award, whatever it may be. The next one will be equity theory. And whether it's good or not, people do compare their efforts and awards to others. And if they sense unfairness, they can lose motivation. Certainly comparison is the thief of joy, and you really shouldn't do that, but we do. It's human nature, and it's people that feel like they're not being treated fairly. Like if they sense that someone else is receiving preferential treatment, i.e. the good old boy system, which a lot of departments I feel like we've gotten away from it, but it does still exist. It can cause some serious problems. Another theory would be a goal setting theory. So setting goals and helping others set personal goals can challenge people, and that improves motivation and performance. I'm a big firm believer in that. I've got my 5-year plans, my 10-year plans, and it really just helps you stay focused and really when you take classes or you're working on a degree or sometimes it can get very overwhelming and you can really sit there and question why you're doing it. Well, if you have goals and I know that if I do this, I'm going to be able to reach this, whatever that is, that's really important for people. An example of something like that for like a goal setting theory as a department, you could even say, well, hey, listen, we're going to set a policy that any new hire from this point on, by their 3-year mark, they're going to have their paramedic certification. So that's just one example of that. So what can fire and emergency service organizations do from a human resource standpoint? And there's a couple of things that an HR department can do to help motivate firefighters. The first one is setting up professional development. What this means is we're talking about like ongoing education, training programs, even leadership programs. A lot of these are cheap. They're not very expensive. I understand that different departments have different budgets, but if you can make a part of your, say, benefits package for firefighters, paying for training, supporting them in that way, it shows that the department is investing in them, and they will feel appreciated. The second one would be recognition programs. And we've talked a little bit about this already, but Employee of the Month awards, life-saving awards, and then public acknowledgement through social media or other avenues. Again, I know firefighters typically will say they don't want those things, but I have seen firsthand that people do enjoy it, and it is meaningful. Even if not for yourself, it's cool. If you have a life-saving award, it's nice for people's families, because a lot of times the families of firefighters really don't know what we do and go through. So having those things in place, it can really help people stay motivated. The next would be a work-life balance. That's another thing HR can have an effect on. And this comes down to like paid time off. Like how much PTO are you giving your employees? Are you offering mental health resources like a peer support team? What's your employee assistance program or EAP program? What's that look like? You need to make sure that you're meeting industry standards on that, because the mental health wave has come, and I know even 15 years ago nobody talked about it, but it's a big deal now and people care about it. So an example of this, I've talked about a couple of them, but something would be as simple as maybe implementing free gym access for all members, and that can help with overall fitness and health, and it saves the person $30-$40 a month. That is meaningful. People care about stuff like that. So that was HR. So how about from an administrative standpoint? Well, it starts at the top, right? I think if you don't really agree with that, you haven't been around long enough, or you haven't seen what the effects of bad leadership can do. I have certainly seen that. Strong leadership is going to encourage open communication from the top to the bottom. It's going to allow employees to feel like they're part of the process. And open communication is one of the biggest parts of strong leadership. Nobody is going to respect somebody who thinks they have all the answers and knows everything. Somebody who's willing to do the same things that the firefighters are willing to do. For example, a fire chief that still takes the same physical, say like an iPad or a CPAT every year that the firefighters have to do. Well, a lot of fire chiefs aren't going to do that, but the rank and file, they see that. And keeping open communication is really important. Administration can ensure that all the equipment, the apparatus, the facilities that are up to date and modern. And this just really shows that the people that work there, that the department is willing to invest in the future, that they care. And then it's important to create fair policies and ensure that that we're not nitpicking. We're not, the old saying, low-hanging fruit. I know sometimes that does happen. We need to try to avoid that as leaders, like creating policies that make sense. Discipline is important, but trying to find the middle ground. Easier said than done, for sure. But that is one way you can help out motivating people from an administrative standpoint. And then another thing would be promotional processes, ensuring that they're fair and objective. We've talked about that. The good old boy system cannot be. For us, we actually hire outside agencies to come in, third party. We bring in assessors from outside of the county. I've always felt like we do that the right way. You will get promoted based off of your merits. You're ranked off of your performance and your file review, and you get promoted in that order. And that eliminates all of those weird issues you may run into with, so-and-so is a friend of this guy and they hang out off duty, so he got the promotion. That doesn't happen here. At least in my fire department, we do not do that. So you posed the question, is increased pay really the only motivator? The short answer to that is no. It is very important, but it is not the only motivating factor. There's a couple different types of motivation. We talk about extrinsic motivators, and those are things like pay, promotions, but there's also intrinsic, and those are like the feeling of purpose, the feeling of being wanted and needed, the feeling you get from teamwork, being a part of a team, a contributing member of a team, and then opportunities to be challenged and grow. Again, it doesn't always mean being promoted. It could be special teams. It could be putting someone in an instructor position, say, hey, we really want you to be over our Fire Explorer program or Fire Cadet program. Giving them some ownership within the department, it can really go a long way. So pay is not the only thing. And an example of that is actually the U.S. Forest Service had, when their firefighters were polled, they reported that their low morale and it was low morale across the department, so like a negative atmosphere, a lack of career advancement opportunities, and then just overall burnout, that those were much bigger factors than the pay. The firefighters were leaving in droves because of those things. It's like, yeah, the pay would be nice to be more, but it was really these other reasons why. So, in conclusion, I think most of us know that firefighters do not get into this career for the money. If that was the only factor, we would have nobody applying. So as fire service leaders, we really need to do a better job of offering career development opportunities. We need to make sure that we are treating our employees fairly and challenging them, and then focus on building a strong team-oriented culture. So that's all I've got. I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much.